Welcome to another week of Have Serious. This week we have a firefighter on. I know. Some of you guys have been asking. He is not currently a firefighter, but was previously. And what I particularly like is that his experience in firefighting is different than what I've been exposed to just working with firefighters. So I get a whole other list of questions to ask him that I'm curious of myself. You also get a little bit of that cop and firefighter banter going on. But as always, I'll shut up and I'll let him tell his tale. Have a good week, guys, and thanks for tuning in. All right, it's because many have requested, finally have a firefighter on here, and I have let him in my home, which I don't.
I didn't even have to force entry.
Like, I guess I'll have a firefighter on here. So, do you want to say kind of like where you came from or what departments or just the area and whatnot?
Yeah, so was a firefighter in, we'll say, Southern Appalachia. And started off doing wildland firefighting with a Forest Service, State Forest Service. And then kind of got peer pressured into doing structure with some of the guys I worked with. They said, oh, why don't you come out and do structure? So I started off as a volunteer and with the structure side. And the department was kind of funny. It was 90% paid full time. And like as just like a hang on. They were like, oh, we don't want to take volunteers away because we've had, it's how we started in the 50s, but there really weren't any. And there were a few, I shouldn't say any, but they weren't very active. There weren't very many of them. They're older guys that kind of just hanging out. And I was in college, I actually started in college. So I started doing the wildland firefighting in college. They had a program where the State Forest Service would train college students. And then if they needed additional manpower, they would come and actually sound a siren on top of our dining facility. And you go down there. And of course, they check to make sure you were on their list of like qualified and trained people, and you go out and fight wildfires. And that kind of led me into that world.
So were you interested in it before, or did you just kind of like, buddy's doing it?
Yeah,
or?
Not really. Like the wildland part, I was always loved the outdoors. So I spent, hiking, backpacking. I mean, the Blue Ridge Mountains, it's great. And part of the reason why I ended up going to school there. And that was, I did have a buddy, I guess it's even before I started school. So it was like the week you're there is your freshman year beforehand. Met a friend. He actually volunteered with the department, and we were walking back to our dorm, and a fire department vehicle pulled up, and they were out coming back from a call or something, just cruised by and saw him and called him over, and they knew him, of course, and kind of introduced me. And I thought, well, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't. Oh, what? Yeah. So yeah, I got into it, and then norovirus, man, the cruise ship virus got me my first paid shift.
What?
Yeah, I can't remember what year of college I was in, but one of the lieutenants called me and he said, hey, he says, what are you doing tomorrow? And I said, well, I got one class, whatever. And he says, I need somebody to work from 7 p.m. tonight to 7 a.m. So they were on a 24 on, 48 off shift, but they'd had so many people out sick with the norovirus, like firefighters, EMS, like everybody, that they were like, we're below minimal staffing. And of course, because it was the whole area, other departments where sometimes we'd have guys that are full-time in other departments, part-time with us just to fill in holes here and there. They were either busy or sick. And so I got to work my first paid shift doing that, which is awesome because the first 6 calls are all dehydrated grandmas that have been throwing up for 2 days. It's just awesome. This is what I wanted.
You guys legit rant calls. So I will say I give a lot of shit to firefighters, as you know, because you listen to this.
I do. Yeah, I have a list of things to address.
I give shit to some firefighters. So I try to give a caveat to, there are certain groups of firefighters, obviously, just like cops, right? Some cops don't do shit, that work their asses off and freaking earn that paycheck. So and I'll say that group is one of them from what I understand.
Yeah, well, and it that's the thing. I should say that because I'll probably say some things about firefighting, and somebody in the comments or somebody listening to me, that's total bullshit. It's not how it works. And it varies so much whether you're in a city, whether you're in a rural area, and even if you're in a comparable sized city, the county's policies or the municipality's policies may differ. It just just varies. And then there are those firefighters that are just they do suck. I hate to say it. But they probably should go get a job at Home Depot.
It's like that with every profession, though.
Yeah,
so,
but it's a small percentage, right? It is a small percentage.
Yes, very small.
It is.
And to back up, though, I am curious, how was the training for that, by the way? I know you said you're volunteer at first, but how was the training?
So, it was good, I guess. So doing the wildland, you start off in classroom, then you do some practical, and I'll say at that time, and it's changed some now, it was kind of holy shit, they threw me out here with this? I don't know what I'm doing. That woods are on fire.
I'm sorry, you could totally kick him off of your lap, by the way. He's going to make out with you here in a minute.
I mean, you know,
He will-
have some peanut butter toast before I left the house. That's totally the.
he's like, hey buddy,
Hey, buddy.
let me get close. Feel free to kick him off of you, and he will eventually learn.
I feel like this is a dog for anyone listening.
Yes, so he says. Oh good. Yeah, so feel free to kick him off. But anyway, so training.
Yeah, so you know that was kind of that training, and then the structural training. So because I was a volunteer, I started off just going to class. At first, I couldn't do anything. They're like, "Hey, you can wash your truck. You want to carry this stuff from over here to over there? Great." Which I think is honestly kind of a great way to start.
Yeah.
And then they eventually they had an academy, and I think I want to say that was during the summer, and like they didn't do that just for me. It just happened to line up that way. And so I was able to get like my basic qualifications. Still no idea what I was doing, right? But just like not going to get myself killed. Basic skills. But the thing is having been on some calls by that point, like I'd seen some things, like so I understood things. Yeah, I'm a big believer in all the careers I've had. Like listen to the people that are there. You know, you'll figure out who's full of shit and who's not. So that's kind of the deal. Is I spent time listening to guys that I was like, okay, yeah, you seem squared away. I respect you. You have a good reputation. Like. And, you know, just putting in the work. I still say, like, to this day, it's funny, like, people are like, oh, you miss firefighting. I'm like, yeah. But, like, it seems like I miss sitting with the guys, like, cleaning tools. Like, it's just that. I mean, one, because it's with them, but even just that kind of zen, the purpose of, I'm keeping this tool clean, I'm keeping it ready.
Yeah.
There's something to that. A lot of firefighters do kind of have, like a tool fetish, like a tool. But, you know, it's something...
I thought it was a joke until I went into the fire department in our city one time, and I'm looking for somebody. I'm like, hello, is anybody here? And they're all playing ping pong. I was like, come on, what the hell?
I'm sorry. I think they were doing a team building exercise.
I apologize. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, firehouse I worked in, I think we had a ping pong table. I don't think we ever played. We didn't. I'm sure other shifts did.
Okay.
We played basketball, ultimate frisbee. We set up not ultimate, but disc golf. We set up a disc golf course, and we were the training. That station was the training. We had the training facility there. So we would be like, third window on the tower is for hole 4. The back window of the old Buick is.
We like to make fun of it only because we were jealous. We wanted to do it. Like, dang, we want to play putt-putt, as we saw some of them do. We're like, man, this looks fun.
We definitely had officers. We would kind of let them. We had a good relationship. And so they would come in, like, if they were on shift and they needed to, didn't have any calls or whatever, and they would like do some paperwork.
Yeah.
Especially in the summer, they could like pop off their vest, pop off their belt, you know, sit at our table. We had to watch the fridge.
Well, yeah, you do. I totally got sidetracked. But the training. So what was the hardest part of the training for you then?
I mean, the physical part is no joke. And there's just things where you're just tired and you want to just like, is this really... Different people have different hangups. Mm-hmm. Ladders didn't bother me. You know, height and ladders bothers some people. You know, we do like rope rescue. So like rappelling and like that kind of stuff doesn't. But the confined space, not a huge fan. I'll do it. Like we had course where we had like, I'll say the size wrong. I don't know, 30-inch, 36-inch like drain pipe, like that black drain pipe. And it was like a vertical drop. So you're getting lowered. You're not even rappelling. You're just getting lowered by somebody above. And then you have to like crawl through it because then it like goes down to the 3rd floor or whatever, 2nd floor. You like crawl around this maze. Yeah. So I did it. I was like, if we ever get a confined space call, I'm the dude up top. I'm the dude feeding the rope in.
Lower them down.
Yeah. And we went into like a milk tanker. It was one another department had for water. I mean, it was used for water, but they never used it. Yeah. But, you know, like an 18-wheeler tanker. And went in there, and there was water in there. Like, there's like 2 inches of water. I was like, oh, this is nasty.
Yeah. So what did you have to do? Just go through it? Or
yeah, so, like, some of them you'd have to go through it, like, find a victim, rig the victim in a harness, and, like, drag a dummy out. You know, it was like a rescue dummy. I don't think we ever, because occasionally some exercises we'd use like another firefighter. Like I'd put another student there. They'd be like, yeah, you got to pull them out. I don't think we did it for that. I can't remember. Or like you'd go in there and like just do some task. Like just some, like it was really just that you could go in there and not freak out. You know, and that you weren't going to like, it's dark.
Did you guys have some badasses that you knew were badasses, like as training advisors, or what would you guys call them? Training advisors or?
Well, so you have like a training officer, like a formal, that's like somebody that's actually a certification that somebody gets because, you know, putting people in, you know, life-threatening situations potentially, and they do a pretty good job teaching them how to train, like teaching methodologies and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so we had some of that, and then we just had some guys that were like badasses that were like, yeah, that dude really knows this. And then a lot of it happened. We call them like company drills, kind of the generic term. But so maybe a firehouse. So maybe you have 1 or 2 trucks there, and any firefighters listening are like, oh, so there's engines and there's trucks. Trucks have ladders on top and no water. Although,
Is that in every case or just your case?
no, so that's everywhere. So there's like, oh yeah, there's a whole, we're not gonna, this like hours of like all the different kind of fire
Did not
apparatus.
know.
So truck company is a ladder company. So it's a ladder truck, what most people would call it. And then an engine is an engine company, which
Wow.
has hose and water and pump.
No.
And like the names of it go back to like horse-drawn days. So like there's a thing called a quint. It has a ladder, a pump, and water and hose. And it has pump and ground ladders. So it has 5 things on it. So it's a quint. And it's like, yeah, got it. It's like, yeah. Like fire service, kind of like police, big on tradition.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit more. Like maybe even a little bit like, you know.
Yeah. I'd say our new guys forget the old terms, so it changes.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Even when I went back and the new guys were saying some term, I'm like, what the heck does that mean? It's some other way they're using a 10 code. I'm like,
oh, you guys 10 codes. God. Did you guys not read the 9/11 report? It's supposed to be plain English on the radio.
But that's only during the major events, okay?
Uh-huh.
It works so well when you're trying to talk and not let anybody else know what you're talking about.
Talking about hot now sign is now on. 10/12 hot now's on. See, we're hip to it. So training, yes, that was training. And then even like later on in my time, like I had one of my officers, a training officer, so he would do trainings and like I would help do it, which was like some entertaining stories, like brand new guys freezing up on a ladder truck, like they're climbing up a 75-foot ladder, and like we had a dude stop just midway, and that officer was like, "Get up there, go get him." I'm like, "What the? No, he's got to pee or eat or something. Sometime he'll climb down, it'll be fine." Like I climb up there like the whole way because you're not clipped in. So when you stop, you have a ladder belt and you clip in when you stop. But while you're climbing up or down, you're not attached to anything. So it's just climbing.
I just assumed it was like climbing where you do clip in. And
the whole time I was just like, this dude is going to slip. He's going to panic. He's going to slip and he's going to fall off this ladder and take me with him as he tumbles down this. This is how I'm going to die. This will be it. He was fine. Well, he never became a firefighter, but we got him off the ladder.
Survived.
He didn't die up there.
Yeah, that heights thing, that's not my jam. I don't like that. So
no.
I will give you guys that credit because no.
It's funny, as I've gotten away from it, there are things, edges get me now, which they never did. I used to be on top of buildings. Edges get me. I was on a roof and I was like, oh, the edge just gave me like being on top of the roof. Yeah. I was like, I need to spend more time on a roof. I had the wrong. Let me go. Where's a cliff? Let me go stand near the edge of a cliff.
Go welfare check on you because you're just standing near a cliff. So like that guy.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm just getting it back. All right.
Ask a lot of cops this stuff, but what was a call that kind of shook it all together for you, where you realized this is real stuff? This isn't just training anymore. Like you kind of felt the reverberations through your body of this is real, and now I understand the training kind of part. Was there something after training that really got you, so to speak, where it was put it all together?
Yeah. I'm never sure it was like a put it all together moment, but it was more like, oh, this is real. Because I'd been on traffic accidents where it was like, okay, they hit their head on the steering wheel, there's some blood, but they're going to be fine. Yeah. You know, and been on some like a ton of fire alarms. It's like, there's nothing. But that's kind of the thing. I mean, it's like law enforcement. You never know, like when, like, oh, this is going to be the shit. Like,
yeah. A lot of nothing and then something.
Yeah. And it wasn't even so much a traumatic call or like a bad call or anything, but it was the first fatality. This one I was still part-time, and we went, and it was I can't even remember because it had to get dispatched as something other than a welfare check, because of the nature of welfare checks, we would wait for law enforcement. Unless it was like, that was our policy. I just will say, usually when we pulled up the house, because where we were, like, the density of law enforcement was pretty thin. So it was usually like one officer and like no forcible entry tool. So we're forcing entry, right? Yeah. And like, it's like, wait a minute, why am I standing with a Halligan in front of the guy with a gun? Like, this doesn't make sense. Like,
I really think in those departments, too, in the smaller departments, you guys have way better entry tools, right? Because those smaller departments don't have anything.
Yeah, I mean, they had tools. Like, I think they carried like a sledge in their car, maybe a Halligan or something. But so anyway, we went in ostensibly for a person down call or something, and a neighbor had called. He always went over and hung out with his neighbor in the evening, like 7 o'clock. His wife and him would eat dinner. The victim's wife and him would eat dinner every night, and she would go to work overnight shift at the hospital, the VA hospital as a nurse. That night they'd eaten dinner together. She left. Neighbor came over to like you ever watch TV with this guy, just do neighborly things, hang out. And he didn't answer the door. And so the neighbor called 911 because something's wrong. We got there. He was dead. And he was like, he wasn't so dead we didn't touch him because there's like he dead.
Obviously dead.
Yeah, like obviously dead. Dead like fried chicken. Like, that's what he said. Like fried chicken. That dude's dead.
Of course you're going to relate it to food. Firefighters.
So, yeah, we were there and checked Paul's, and he was not as warm. He wasn't cold, but he was not as warm as
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, now it's an unattended death. Let's not let's not mess things up. Although he was face down on the dinner plate. It was pretty.
It's unfortunate. I mean, there's worse ways to go though, by far, but still.
Yeah. And the thing, even then that was like, okay, this is part of the gig. And then we got another call. Law enforcement wasn't there. We got another call, relatively small department. I can't remember what it was for, but the officer on the scene was like, man, I think we got to go to that other call. And he's like, but I can't leave this guy alone. Hey, Clay, stay with this dude until the cops show up. And what brought it home, and it's not how anyone should ever find out. The neighbor had called the wife, and she came back. And here I am being like I'm don't let anyone in the house.
Yeah.
And of course, she sees me, and she's obviously confused because there's no fire truck. They're like, the fire department's here, and they left. But they left this one dude, this kid, that, and I'm just waiting for the deputies. I'm like, where the fuck are you guys? What are you doing?
And nobody ever. It's creepy to stay alone with a dead body. I mean, I don't.
Yes, yeah, it was creepy. And then I'll never forget just the sound she made. I mean, that was her husband, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is what we do.
Mm-hmm. Did she do that guttural scream, or was she the?
Yeah, it was that guttural scream. Just that
I've seen the silence, and then I prefer the silence, which is probably worse for the person, right? That silent digestion of what happened. But those guttural screams.
Yeah. There's just a few of those things you learn, that scream.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were talking about the other day. It was a couple months ago when we saw each other later today. Now I'm away. And I was like, "There's a dude dead on the side of the road," because it was how he was curled up.
Yep.
And I had my phone out about the call, and then I see behind me lights pulling up, and I was like, all right, somebody call. But he was on the sidewalk, and I was like, oh yeah, that dude's
dead.
dead.
We haven't talked about this before, but the difference between somebody dying and I'm not religious, because I'm sure you've listened to the previous part, and I'm not, and people that are, that's probably the way they describe it, as the soul leaving or whatnot. But there's a different change between somebody that's clinging onto life and then somebody dead. You can see it. I don't even know how to explain it. It's not like a.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, and it's just
Yep, they're gone.
And then sometimes, unfortunately, we still have to keep, because we don't have the legal ability, unless it is there's, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of my ass because it's been a long time since I've had to do that. All the wickets and all that about, when is it this and that. But there's definitely some, oh no, that's.
Well, you can speak on what you were, though.
Yeah. Well, it's just there were certain conditions, non-compatible with life, I think is the deal. Their injury, oh, the dude's head's over there.
That's the term, non-compatible with life?
Injuries non-compatible with life.
I kind of like that, though.
Yeah.
That's a really nice way to say you're going to die.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, these were dead. So we roll up and you're cut in half. Nah, that's non-compatible with life, man. No.
Dang, I kind of wish I'd use that term now.
Yeah.
That's not compatible with life. He's not going to live. Jesus.
We did. But there's those times. So we had a guy. So it was funny. A couple months ago, I was back where I was, where I worked, and got together with most of the first engine company I was ever on, which was the best. I mean, the best guys ever. I mean, it warms my heart because the officer on that truck retired from that agency, went and got a job in another department, and it's a fire marshal. This dude has 28, 30 years of experience, well known in the state, and people know him. And he's like, you guys are the best crew I ever had. And we kind of it's family. And of course, much to the horror of our families who were there, we were drinking and talking about shit. And we had a guy, and I'm trying to remember his name now. Partner knew his name. When I say my partner, so for cops out there. So we had 4-man companies. You had a driver, chauffeur, engineer. We called him engineer, all the same thing. They drive the truck and they pump the water. That's their job. Now they're a fully qualified firefighter, but their job. The officer sits in the front passenger seat, does officer shit, keeps the miscreants in the back in line, is in command. And then we had 2 firefighters in the back. So I call the other back man, my partner, because you go in with them. So you're kind of together. I mean, not always, but that's the general thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we pull up with this guy in 4-lane road with a turn lane, 45-mile-an-hour speed limit, which means like 55.
Yeah, easily.
Easy. And dude is laying in the road, distended belly.
Mm.
And now, so the other thing that's kind of here is the way we ran is we had our primary, like our fire truck, but we had an expedition, we ran medical calls in. And only the 2 firefighters went. So like the 2 most junior guys in the back of the truck went on the medical call. We were fully trained. But then the other guys stayed with the truck in case there was another call, or unless it was something like cardiac or like really nasty trauma. And it's like, we're going to need more hands.
Yeah.
Than we knew. But for this one, it was like pedestrian versus car hit and run. We were first on scene. So I was driving, whipped it, blocked the lane, like trying to block 4 lanes with one car is just not
It's hard.
right? Like, and distended belly, not moving. And we go over there and I get to him first and, oh, this dude's dead. Just like, because the way he was laying and like a huge distended belly. And I was doing like the paradigm, like load and go. Like if it's really traumatic, get him on a freaking backboard. They don't backboard everyone anymore. Yeah. We threw him on a backboard so he'd be easy to get in the ambulance when it got there. So county ambulance shows up, paramedics, we do the handoff, like felt his belly warm, like all the signs of internal bleeding. Throw him on the stretcher. They get him in the back of the ambulance. They're starting to do their deal. And all of a sudden, and like we're about to like close the ambulance door and slap it because that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You got to do that. Doesn't go if you don't slap it.
The door, yeah.
The door, not the patient, or the paramedic. Sometimes you got to slap the paramedic to get them to go too. And before we got the door shut, I always says, wait, go get my lunch. Don't forget my lunch. And we're like looking around this road at night and we're like, what the fuck is he talking about? And I guess I should put in there a little cop throughout. So the state trooper shows up and I think the guy's name was Gerald. So he walks up and Gerald's messed up, right? As we said. And the trooper says, come on, man, get up with this bullshit. Get up off that road. So apparently this dude was like a professional jumping in front of cars dude and just screwed this one up.
Yeah.
And then the car left. His lunch, so he's like, oh, yeah, no, get my lunch. And it's like a grocery sack with like 4 margarine containers in it.
Margarine? Like butter?
Like butter. Like they have like the Mrs. Butter or the whatever, like the country crock, like tubs. He had like 4 country crock tubs in a Walmart bag or a grocery store bag. My partner grabbed his lunch and we put it between his legs on the stretcher and he's like, thanks. We're like, man, I hate to tell you, you're probably going to be eating for a while. Yeah. He survived. But yeah, the trooper let us know. He's like, yeah, man, he got hit over on this highway. And dude, he was from east to west in the county. Like he was working the whole county.
It's a good gig. If you know how to get hit by a car and you're homeless, and that's your gig.
That was his gig. Yeah. And like I asked us, like, so was he just like shaking people down on the roadside? Was he... And the trooper's like, oh, it's all of it. Shaking down people on the road. Oh, give me $200. I won't call the police. Or, hospital, right? Because, like, that's the thing. A lot of homeless people, like, that hospital stay. Yeah.
You guys help, and we've talked about this before, you guys help getting people in body bags.
Yeah.
See, that is not something, and I'm not saying it never happened here, but that's not something I ever experienced in my department.
A firefighter's doing that, right?
Damn. Was that a normal thing? You guys did that?
I don't say it was normal, but I mean, yeah, we would. So, there were times where we would leave the scene with law enforcement, and I don't know who. I honestly don't know who did it then. I mean, I guess county EMS came to transport them because there was a coroner. I can't remember how it all. But yeah.
Well, hats off to you. I'm surprised. I mean, that's cool to know.
So sometimes we would do that. So anyway, we're trying to this person in a body bag, get them taken care of, and the trooper decides to open up the one eastbound lane. So now we're down to one lane that's not blocked. I never forget this woman drove by in like a sports car, like a little low Mustang or something, and looked over, and I made eye contact with her as I was doing this. And the look on her face, because she like, you could see like processing like what's going on. And then all of a sudden, like 100 yards up the road, you just see taillights and you see her like swerving and parking on the side of the road. I'm like, oh yeah. And I said something to the trooper. That's you. Like, yeah.
She's traumatized now.
Yeah. I was like, she's traumatized. Like,
little trauma is not bad for everybody.
No.
It's okay.
No. Yeah.
At least now maybe they won't bitch so much when the road's closed.
Right. Oh, did you ever have people like, we had a thing where we had, like pike poles, the build long poles that firefighters have to like pull shit down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would tied a tarp up in between them one time to block off an extrication because we'd extricated one person from the vehicle, another person was dead inside the vehicle. But you have to get them out before the tow truck takes them. So we were doing that bit, and it was gnarly. So we put up a tarp to like block it because now like it had gone from, this was kind of in a area where there was some pedestrian traffic. So like, and people just pulled over on the side of the road to watch. And so we put these up and I was holding it. And this dude was putting his kid on his shoulder so his kid could see over the tarp. I was like, what the? I don't want to see this shit. What are you doing? Yeah, dumbasses.
Yeah. People like the looky-loos that then cause another fatality.
Oh, yeah.
Or like whatever. I can't take it.
Well, the agency I was at, I think we were talking about some agencies are really lucky, right? They haven't had a fatality in their agency.
Really?
Well, yeah, we were talking about some other agencies and stuff. But anyway, one of our fatalities, it was somebody rear-ending a fire truck that was on the side of the road during a traffic accident. And there were two fire trucks, and he hit the rear of one, and somebody was passing in between the two fire trucks, and it crushed them.
Firefighter, I'm guessing?
A firefighter, yeah. And so, yeah, the looky-loos, or just like people who like move over, slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be like, I don't want to see better or worse because it sucks, obviously, when an officer gets murdered and shit, but also just to be like, hey, and then just them get smushed out of something that could have totally been avoided. It wasn't like somebody's overt action. It's like, hey, you're fucking stupid. Well, that's mean, but I mean, you're being fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Just not paying attention. You run into somebody.
I don't know if we talked about the guy that pulled the knife on me and tried to get me. But yeah, most of the violence, I've heard rumors like in big cities, people will shoot at fire and EMS crews who are trying to save somebody that somebody else shot. I'm like, I mean, I've never heard that confirmed. I'm sure someone's gonna be out there like, yes, on this date, but
because there's been a couple of firefighters shot.
Yes,
that recently? I forget what the news story was.
Oh yeah, out west, yeah. Well, there's departments. I think I don't know. I'm trying to think. There are departments that they have body armor and ballistic helmets in their trucks. It's more, some of it's for like rescue task force stuff with active shooters. Some of it's, the agency I was at long after I was gone had a situation where it was a barricaded suspect. I can't remember if he started the fire and they pulled up and he started shooting, or he was barricaded, law enforcement was there, then he started the fire. But he was definitely taking, I think it was the other way around. I think there was a fire. He got called in as a fire. They rolled up. He started shooting. Then law enforcement came and did their thing. I might have that wrong, but that stuff happens.
So what's with the guy that stabbed you? Did he just know you're a firefighter and was like, fuck firefighter?
No. No, and he didn't stab me. Thankfully, I got my partner and the state troopers eventually showed up, second responders.
It's the only time you can say that.
Second responders. No, we got called for allergic reaction on the side of the interstate. So this is major U.S. interstate. And we're responsible for allergic reaction. Passerby did not stay on scene. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're really concerned about this dude. We were actually doing our physical fitness test. I remember this like clear as day. Doing our physical fitness test, hop in the truck, go on this call. And like I said, usually just be two of us in like an expedition. This time a third guy went with us because we had multiple companies together. And he's like, you know what? You're on the interstate. Another set of eyes might not hurt. Let me roll up. So we rolled up there. I was on medical care that day. So we kind of had a system to like, oh, you're driving and doing this. You're our primary patient care. So he's in a minivan. I pop open the rear driver or passenger door and hop in the first back seat in the minivan. And it's like the one with like captain's chairs in the middle. And he is altered consciousness, kind of slumped over. And he has like a little girl's Tinkerbell jacket, like kind of draped over him, like a hoodie kind of thing. And, do the whole thing. Hey, I'm firefighter such and such. I'm here to help you. How you doing today?
Yeah.
Non-responsive. And I kind of hear, and I'm looking, I'm like, this dude is not, this is an allergic reaction. No swelling, I don't hear anything. One of the other firefighters side of the interstate, I have my radio on me, but he's like pointing to his radio through the window, like telling me, listen to your radio. And so I go down and turn it up because it's hard to hear those things sometimes, right? Then I turn it up and I hear diabetic emergency. And and right at that time, I look over and I see a syringe stuck into the passenger seat and I see a bottle of insulin. So I'm thinking, oh, we're in diabetic emergency. He's giving himself too much insulin or his blood sugar is too high. Okay, now for anyone that doesn't know, people with extremely low blood sugar can become really aggressive. There are stories like diabetics getting really low blood sugar and they have an interaction with law enforcement who's like, they're crazy. Well, their blood sugar was like 5. Okay, not really 5, but really low. So you start acting erratically. So that's the thing that can happen. All of a sudden, the Tinkerbell jacket comes off and he starts coming at me, like slashing with a box cutter.
Yeah.
And
those things will cut you and you won't even know it.
yeah, it's that time compression thing. Like, it seemed like it was forever. I just kind of lunged backwards, and we did unarmed self-defense training every year that some law enforcement partners put on for us. And it was very practical. This wasn't like, anything.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, you have a steel oxygen cylinder. Hit them with that. You have a bag with a bunch of shit. Just throw it. Throw it at them and get space. And you just get space between you and an attacker. And so I just kind of threw the bag and just kind of like cowardly, just like diving out of the back of the car, this like minivan.
It's not cowardly.
What
are you gonna do?
And my partner though reaches in and just like, I don't know, he just grabbed the knife. We'll say that.
Yeah.
He just grabbed that knife, threw it on the side of the interstate. Right then a trooper like rolled up because we'd asked for assistance with traffic control. And helped the gentleman out of the vehicle, we'll say.
Yeah, sounds accurate.
And then the ambulance came. So the story was one of those, I did follow up on it just out of like, why were you fucking trying to slice me up? So the guy was suicidal. He'd come from another state just over the border, and he had applied for a job, been out of work for a long time, didn't get the job. He had kids. I mean, there are all sorts of kids' toys. And you can tell a car that people have kids. Yeah. I guess just decided to put it on the side of the interstate, and he tried to, I guess his first plan was to do an insulin overdose, which will kill you. But then he'd also started cutting himself. He was going to slice his wrist. But remember, railroad tracks, not crosswalks. He was doing crosswalks. So yeah, he was bloody and swinging a knife, like a blood-covered box cutter at me. And they, I was fine, got out. Of course, the troopers are kind of like, ready to throw the book at him. Like, I was like, a criminal charge is not helping this dude. His life is already screwed. Yeah.
Did he know? I mean, how low was his blood sugar? Did he know?
So I don't know, but he moved with enough purpose. Now, did he think I was like there to like harm him or a ghost or like a demon or whatever?
I'll say from the majority of our department, it was usually law enforcement first, unless it's a specific fire for the most part.
No, we were, if you call 911 and you don't need somebody arrested or shot, we went. Now, like I said, welfare checks we would stage, drug overdoses and suicides we would stage because
violence usually occurs.
And that was, but there's those ones you walk into that get misdispatched, allergic reaction. I know we worked a couple drug overdoses, and it was like came in as general illness, the worst call you get because it can be anything. So we had like back in the 70s, they settled a bunch of Ukrainian refugees there that flee the Soviet Union. The old Ukrainians, man, they did not get down with that. And same thing, we had migrant workers. And that was really sad. And that was scary. Sometimes we go into a house and there's a dude in the closet. You're like, why is there a guy in the closet? And it's just, they're scared of the authorities, which sucks for us because we were asked questions, has anyone else been sick? Have you had, this chemical, like whatever? Because unfortunately with them, they were migrant workers that would go from our area to harvest apples to like Florida to harvest tomatoes, depending on the time of year.
Yeah.
And they were exposed to so many pesticides. And so they would get like pesticide poisoning, herbicide poisoning. It was basically nerve agent. It's the same symptoms and same treatments a lot of times. Because like VX and all that stuff was, I shouldn't say that. Was it VX? I don't know. A couple of the nerve agents in World War II, like the early nerve agents, they found them out because they were making a pesticide that was like too good.
Wow.
And they were like, oh, well, we can't use this for bugs, but we can use it for.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so we'd see that. And that was tough because I'm like, I'm not here, man.
What were the symptoms? Like, what'd they get?
Oh, God. There's an acronym. It's like sludge. It's like, they like drooling and like kind of like slurring and just being like all, that was kind of the low level initial. I can't remember. I should remember. There was an acronym and it was like, oh, you probably were exposed to massive amounts of pesticide. And when they were like mixing it, that's why I always eat organic apples. After I saw that.
That's crazy. I did not know that. So I know how police approach mental health, but what kind of effects do the firefighters experience, or do they experience? Because I mean, I'm guessing every department's different, all the other stuff, but I'm sure that you've seen enough and had friends that have seen enough. What do they experience and how do they deal with it?
So I think it's getting a lot better. I mean, it's not good, but yeah, I think it's very similar. You see the things that like most people don't have to see. I jokingly be like, oh yeah, first responders like garbage men. We
Yeah.
deal with the stuff no one else wants to deal with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the deal is society would like to forget this happens, whether it's an accident or whether it's malicious or whatever. People would just like to go about their lives knowing these things happen and exist.
Yeah.
Or they might know, but they don't really know.
They have the gift of obliviousness.
Oh yeah. And they don't know how close it is to them.
Yeah.
You know, well, they deal with it through drinking and divorces. Ooh.
Do you guys have as many as the cops have?
I don't know. I mean, there's a
Probably.
lot of divorces.
See, I feel like you guys are sexified. Is that the right word?
I don't know. I've always looked for those women. I could never find them. Where are the
There's like firemen, but please suck. I don't know.
Oh, you did ask that question when I said, you're like, what do they have? We call them badge bunnies too.
Oh, what?
Yeah, we call them badge bunnies too.
Oh, I guess because you guys did have badges.
Yeah,
See, I was totally hoping you call them hose jumpers.
No, we should make that a thing. I'm going to start calling every firefighter I know and be like, this is the term we're going to start using.
The new term.
This is the new term. No, yeah, we call them badge bunnies too. But yeah, no, they're definitely. And then there's a reputation of firefighters like cheating.
Yeah.
You know, it's a thing. I mean,
you spent 24 hours away from that. I'm guessing you were 24 on and 48 off.
Right, yeah. That's how we were. In most departments, 24 or somebody like 48. New York City does something one thing, but they're so their own thing that they're just like, they just do their own thing. Because they run so many calls. Somebody's going to be like, oh my God, idiot.
They do like high-rise fires a lot, right?
They do high-rise fires and they just do a lot. I actually knew a dude who went there. So he'd been a firefighter where not the same agency I was at, the same area, went there. Everyone's like, he's like, I'm a New York State firefighter. Like, yeah, you and everyone else. He did it. And he graduated near the top of his class. So he got to pick his first assignment and he picked one of the busiest fire stations in the world. They gave him undying shit being from Southern Appalachia. Yeah. And they said, why aren't you married? I thought all you hillbillies were like married and pregnant by your 14. Why aren't you married? What's wrong with you? And he looked at me. He's like, I guess it's because I don't have a sister. They didn't give him shit the rest of the time. They were like, that was it. Like, they were like, well, you get it. Like, I feel like law enforcement fire is that same way. Like the best way to like get somebody to shut up is just like self-deprecating. So, I mean, now there are like peer support. They'll bring in counselors for traumatic events. When I was doing it, not so much. It wasn't a thing. There were people talking about it though. And like we did have a pretty bad incident. They brought on a preacher. He was freaking useless. Like, I'm sorry. Like, dude, you tell me that it's God's plan. There's a carload full of dead kids. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, get out of here with that.
I agree. I can't. And you know what? I'm envious for those that do believe that. Like, oh no, this must be God. I can't. No, no. Not any God I would believe in would even.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I'm envious too of people that have that level of faith. I'm like, you can't tell me it's God's plan that like this happen. Like,
you haven't seen it or smelt it or anything.
Yeah.
But so they brought him in and.
Yeah, that was a weird choice. I don't know. But yeah, they would do, critical stress debriefings, even on the wildland side, which people die, right? People die on the wildland side. Both civilians and wildland firefighters, there are deaths.
Well, with the wildlands fires, because I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
And I will say I have mad respect for that group of firefighters and everything that they do. But what is it? Just because the fire encompasses them generally, or what actually is what's their fatal error or circumstance leads to that?
You can. They call it a burnover, so you can get burned over. That's like the fire just overtakes you. It's usually superheated air gets your lungs. And so like fire shelters that all U.S. wildland firefighters carry, call them shake and bake bags.
That's a horrible term, but I like it. I support it.
It's like a fiber. Once again, somebody was going to correct me. It's like fiberglass with like aluminized layers. And people that have deployed them and had burnovers will still get burned a lot of times, but they protect their airway and it keeps the air cool enough. You lie face down on them. The new ones have floors and they come in 2 sizes. The old ones, that happened while I was still doing it. The very first one I ever got issued didn't have a floor. It's because like, we don't have a floor? You're supposed to put it on bare dirt. Yes, that happens, but all sorts of things. So trees fall on people because we're doing a lot of chainsaw work. A friend of mine, I did not know him well, but when I was very new, he was very kind to me. It's one of those things that like you don't know what you don't know. And so you got to rely on those older people to kind of give you, not even older. I say older, I think in his 30s. But when you're in your 20s, just little things like, hey, change your socks or make sure you always bring a pair of socks or always have a snack in your pocket. Your firefighter, but you know that like because you never know on the wildfire side, like we would do what we call initial attack. Not all the time I was doing initial attack, but a lot of time I was doing initial attack. And you go out for a fire, it gets called in by somebody, plane, fire tower. California has the whole network of like crazy cameras, and they're like constantly looking, kind of taking the place of fire towers. Or somebody just sees smoke like up behind their house on a mountain. And you might go up there and you might be up there for a couple hours, or you might be up there for 20 hours. So like having a snack, it's just a little thing. So he on the second day of a fire, it was contained. They were doing what they call mop up. So wildland fires are mopped up. So you're going and finding things that are close to the fire line that are still burning. That if it got into what they call the green, so the black is the area that's burned, the green's unburned area, they either could roll in or they could puff up with some wind and sparks, you know, firebrands could shower over the line. There's even cold trailing. So you literally take your bare hand and you, on your hands and knees, go along the edge of the fire and make sure it's cold. And usually they'll say mop up so far in. So from the fire line, mop up 10 feet in. And that gets in a lot of like tactical decisions on like what fuels you're in, what's the weather conditions, that kind of stuff. So he was mopping up and doing reconnaissance. I'm just kind of making sure that, you know, everything was still contained and everything. But even though the fire is, quote, out or contained, it was a lot of heavy smoke.
Yeah.
And his name was Curtis Jensen, and he fell to his death off a cliff. Heavy smoke, and well, he was alone. And after that in my career, there were a couple times where I did solo scouts of fires. And I always thought about Curtis when I did it, just because I thought, you know, this is what Curtis was doing. And
how did you find out? Because I imagine that's something you don't find out instantly.
Yeah, so there were other firefighters on the fire. And the incident commander was trying to check in with him via radio. They called his phone and couldn't get him. So then they began a search and they found him. And the smoke conditions changed. It kind of made it easier to do the search. Yeah, he fell to his death. And years later, it was a tough thing. I was out of the fire service, different state. And this woman who, no fault of her own, was telling me about this wonderful trip she went on with her fiance and how they did a waterfall rappelling tour and how fun it was. And she told me the name of the place, and it was where Curtis died. Yeah, that just kind of, I had to just, because I think, man, fuck you. Don't fucking go there for fucking outdoor adventure. That's, you know.
It's like they're her best memory and it's a worst memory.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
And there's the Fallen Wildfire Firefighter Foundation Memorial, but, you know, no one knows. You could go there, and there's an outdoor, like a tour company that leads tours in that area and leads rappels down that cliff face.
Wow.
And it's just kind of like, I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't do that. I'm just saying it's tough. So
there's nothing there at that location to.
No, not as far as I know. So the office where he worked out of, they have a memorial. They built a new office and they built a memorial for him out front. But, you know, I think it's on private land. But yeah, that's just one of those like small world, like, but yeah, that vehicle accidents, cardiac incidents, because a lot of heavy work, hot weather usually, and even for fit people, just there's things that happen because everyone who's doing that, there's a work capacity tested. The bare minimum is 45-pound pack, 3 miles in 45 minutes. But so yeah, that kind of stuff happens. Worked with a guy on a large, looks like nationwide. So we had like 600,000 acres of fire. This was it was called the Big Turnaround Complex. It was in South Georgia, North Florida. One of the largest fires ever on the East Coast. We had resources from around the nation there. And a gentleman I worked with there from Georgia Forestry committed suicide. And I think a couple days after he got off the fire line, his wife had left him while he was gone.
Wow.
And we kind of all knew. And it's weird with that because you're working with people from around the nation you don't necessarily know. Like your crew, you know, but you're now working with crews from around the nation. And we were working, you know, for example, we were from Southern Appalachia. It was in Georgia, worked for Georgia Forestry. Guys from California, and we were all in the same task force. And that was, and I just remember because we kept in contact with some of the guys, and they said, "Hey, just didn't let you know." I was like, "Fuck," you know.
This is a harsh question, but I'm going to ask it because I'm curious. What is a firefighter's preferred method? Because obviously cops choose bullets, but I'm curious if firefighters are any different.
I don't know. I think so because I think it's probably the same. And I think that's a demographic thing, right?
Men in general choose bullets,
right? Men, and it's largely men. It's usually white men. Like, I mean, that's just the nature of it. So there's in the book that I brought you as a gift. So all future guests bring you gifts. It talks about if you look at the suicide numbers, they're higher for firefighters, but that is a skewed sample because most firefighters are men, most are white men. Statistics tell us most men are successful when they try to take their own lives.
Yeah, because it's quicker.
Because it's quicker. Yeah. Yeah, that's the so
I don't know why I thought it would be different, but I just thought maybe.
not fire.
I've seen a lot of suicides. I've yet to see I don't think I have a suicide by fire. I could be lying. I mean, I've seen people that have been burnt to death, but I don't know if it was a suicide or not. I don't think so.
It wasn't a suicide, but it should have been. Like, the dude had a gas grill, put wood in it with the gas cylinder underneath it to have a wood fire in his backyard and used gasoline to start it. The gas can was melted to his hand when we got there on fire, and he was running around the front yard. And then the crazy shit was, once it's those time compression things, how all that happened, got the fire out. I think he pulled the melted gas can off his own hand, which had to be incredibly painful. And we had like a blanket, we had a water extinguisher. We were trying to because we just don't turn the hose and
I have done that. I have turned the hose on and tried to hose people up.
We were just and we ran back in the house, didn't want to go to the hospital.
He didn't want to go to the hospital?
Did not want to go to the hospital.
Okay.
So we had to have a conversation. So it just so happened the person who called in was a deputy who was just out on patrol, just doing the proactive policing thing, and saw a ball of fire.
Hey, buddy.
He was by the time we got there, he was still on fire running around. I was like, damn, dude, how stupid we had that conversation. We're like, was he trying to kill himself?
Yeah.
But his family was inside. They're like, oh, we were gonna go sit around the fire.
And I hate for anybody hearing this that has had somebody that died by fire, but to me, that's one of the ones that's just, I just feel like you definitely feel your choices if that is the way you've chosen to go.
No, that just, no.
Because I know there's stories of people that have jumped off bridges or whatever, they regret their choice halfway down.
I bet, yeah.
And because they've survived miraculously somehow, and they'd be like, yeah, I regretted it as soon as I jumped. But I imagine if anybody's ever caught themselves on fire, they regretted that fairly quickly as well.
So we got a guy called Sure Shot, and I can't remember if he was the guy who shot himself in the head and it missed and took off part of his jaw and he survived. And then we also had a dude that tried to shoot himself in the heart with a 380. Instead put a 380 round into his shoulder. Yeah, that's the thing about being in kind of a smaller, we weren't tiny, but every once in a while you'd be at the grocery store and be like, hey man.
That's true. I guess you run into your quote unquote clients very often.
Yeah. Did you ever run into anyone you interacted with professionally?
That's why I don't go out to eat though, because there's been several joints where narcs have busted them or somebody's busted them, and it's been the whole restaurant.
Oh yeah, restaurants are big drug.
It's oh man. So, but some people are totally comfortable with it. They still go and eat. I'm like, no, I'm good.
My friend, or my first company officer, and a friend who's now fire marshal, I went to visit him. And he was on duty, but he's like, yeah, I can take lunch, man. Let's go get some lunch. I was like, oh, can we go here? He's like, no. Can we go here? No. What about here? Just tell me where the hell we can go. He's like, well, so I fined them last week and I shut them down for a week. I'm like, oh, hell, dude. I was like, you're going to have to bring your lunch.
Where can we go?
Where can we go?
So taking a hard left and going back to our previous subject, what did you found that helped the most with you guys then, with the stuff that you guys dealt with death, either on your, did you guys call them squads? What did you guys call them? Teams?
Companies, or somebody to just say your truck, your guy, your company.
Stuff that you dealt with on your truck. Did you guys have peer support that were actual firefighters? Or
not organized, not at that time. Yeah, not any kind of. So, I think they're the little things, and maybe for the not so critical things. So music, for me was always a big thing. We had a station dog at one of the stations I worked at. We had a Dalmatian. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Pranks. that's a big thing. Just busting each other's balls.
What you guys do for pranks? I feel like our pranks are always use of force related.
So we did. I told you about the taser thing, right?
I think you did. But I don't remember.
So the law enforcement agency had issues, we'll say. And for the longest time, they weren't controlling their taser cartridges. And apparently, I don't know, you probably know better than I. I guess you can put a cable in a taser and it can download its history. So I guess they didn't have that cable. and they weren't controlling their taser cartridges, so they could just like go in, like, I don't know. I was asking, I was like, is there like a basket? You just like go grab 10 and put it in your pocket. And they're like, well, they're just in the supply room. Like, I'm like, what the? But new sheriff came in, literally and metaphorically, and they changed the rules. And yes, they hadn't started downloading the history yet, but they were controlling the cartridges. So one got left in our station with a coffee can, and it was like, ride the lightning, get the money. And people just like throw their change in there. And somebody eventually did it. Like they were just some broke ass firefighter or so. He's like, I'll do it. Like, and they tased, like one of the deputies tased him out back.
Dude, I will say, I had to get tased. You have to get tased to carry a taser in the PD, or most PDs anyways. And my back felt so good after.
Yeah.
I mean, I will take a taser 10 times over. I'd take some pepper spray. I fucking hated the OC spray stuff.
Never having employed either or been on the receiving end of either,
We can solve that, probably.
Oh, hell no, I'm good. I don't need to piss myself. I will be that dude. No, pepper spray. So we would get called, I don't know how it is here, but there, if an officer tased somebody and the probe stayed in, it was now a medical situation.
Oh, they could take them out here, so they can like pull them out. But I mean, if they're like deep in or something screwed up, then yeah.
When they pepper sprayed people, which is very rarely, I learned that like working with, they're like, no, dude, we don't pepper spray anybody. Well,
I always got flagged. I got flagged. Like if you use force, a certain force, so many times you get flagged.
Yeah.
I always get flagged.
Jacking people up out there.
I love that shit.
Well, because people hate it because they would say, oh, my car now smells like pepper spray and I got it on me. And then we would go occasionally and like have to like, we would like wash out their eyes.
Yeah.
And it's like, and of course, like the smart criminals, right? They get pepper sprayed while they say, my chest hurts.
Yep.
They get the ride to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They would tell us, my chest hurts. All right.
Yep. If it depended on the energy of the cop, they'd be like, you're still going to jail, right?
Oh yeah, no. I think every one of our cops would look at me. You're like, that's fine, but like when you get done there, you're gonna go to jail.
But I'll be honest, sometimes around here it's like, okay, thank God, I don't want to deal with that person today.
Well, so do you guys don't have to hang out at the hospital with them?
It depends on the charge.
Okay. But if it's like some Mickey Mouse shit.
Yeah. You're the only other person I know that says Mickey Mouse stuff other than this New Yorker that came on here.
Or like Mickey Mouse, milk run, like just some milk run bullshit,
Which just means bullshit?
Yeah, just like bullshit. Just like, I'm on milk run, man. Like, well, this is just some like, it's probably because I also work for a college public safety department and everyone in it were law enforcement from different parts of the country. Mainly East Coast. So yeah, they all had little terms that like I picked up because they would say stuff and like,
oh, yep.
See, you got to watch The Wire. The humble. They'd say, lock them up behind a humble.
What does that mean?
Like just for like arresting somebody for like loitering or I don't know, maybe even like a little more serious, but just not like you're not arresting them for like distribution of narcotics or murder or felony. Felony. You're just.
I was gonna say we got pop charges, which is pissed off police.
Pissing off the police. Yeah.
Which are legitimate charges.
No, it's a crime. Yeah. Like, yeah. It's
never.
My good friend that works in law enforcement out in Oregon is from Maryland. So they have these things called espatoons. Have you heard of these? So it's like a fucking wooden club and it's on this long leather thong. And like the Baltimore cops used to like spin them. So they would like knock them off the ground and like off mailboxes and shit and like spin them in the air. And they would walk their beat and do this. And they had him for years. And then some police chief, and he's one of those police chiefs is like kind of a celebrity police chief, like what big name police chief came there and he made them get rid of them. And they started carrying, I never heard like congas. It's some weird nightstick. He said basically, hey, you're intimidating people. You're walking down a block and you're spinning your nightstick and knocking it off the ground and stuff. You're intimidating people.
Yeah.
And all the officers were really upset. And then, but whatever, couldn't carry him. Well, then another police chief came in here, I guess he was from Baltimore, and they brought him back because so many residents, they asked them, they did like a survey. They're like, I miss seeing the cops walking around spinning their espatoons. And so now there's only like 2 or 3 guys left that make them. They can carry them now, but it's not like it's gone out of, they kind of lost the tradition. So it's funny. I mailed my buddy one. I ordered one for him. Dude. And I was like, you got to show those West Coast cops what's up. And he never used one. And he's like, dude, I hit myself in the nuts many damn times this thing. And he didn't carry it. It was just at the house.
I never even thought about the terrain issue until actually you talked about your buddy that fell off a cliff. I was like, yeah, I would not have even thought that that'd been something that you'd have to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, terrain's a huge weather and terrain are the two big, well, so it's weather, terrain, and fuel. And
Mhm.
fuel being like the vegetation are the big drivers of fire behavior in the wildland. So yeah, the terrain can make a huge difference. And how hard it is to
Yeah.
escape. Oh, do you have to run up a rocky slope? You
Oh,
know?
and not to make a joke
Yeah.
of it, but I do know that we had one guy that was that was pissing off the side of the mountain in the dark and then stepped off too far and then
Holy fuck.
he survived, thank God. Yeah, but that sucked for him.
Did they like, wait, was this an officer?
Yeah.
So did they like, I'm not gonna,
Everybody has an embarrassing moment, okay?
oh,
But
yeah,
it sucks
yeah.
when the firemen have to come
Come get, oh, yeah, dude, that's got to be the best. Those farmers. Like, yeah.
Oh, damn it, damn it. Oh, actually, to go back a little bit, what's something that you feel the fire department needs to do better on the mental health side of stuff? Or are they doing pretty good?
I mean, I think it's so hard because, you know, across the country, there's so many different agencies.
Yeah.
But I do think the fact they're talking about it, like I said, the book that, the fact that Fire Engineering Press, who like Fire Engineering Magazine, published an entire book on mental health and resiliency. It's not uncommon. Like it's very common now to have that at trainings, from what I understand.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
friends are still in it. My shift partner became a big thing for him. He's actually gone around the country and done things on different trainings and stuff, and he's engaged in an academic study where they actually used two pretty good sized large city fire departments, and one, their recruits got mindfulness training throughout their academy and the other one didn't, and they actually had like university psychologists come and do like a proper academic study, and they looked at things of like thoughts of suicide, alcoholism, stress levels, and all this, and found that the recruits who were trained in mindfulness and these techniques
Yeah.
had better mental health outcomes. So they were less drinking, less thoughts of suicide,
Yeah.
you know, all that. So I think their department's going in the right direction 100%. And unfortunately, I think there's probably departments that aren't. And it's weird now being in the position I'm in that I've left, and guys who I was contemporaries with are now in leadership positions. And every single one of them expressed to me in private, they were like, I'm worried about my guys' mental health. I'm worried about my guys' mental health. You know, they've seen a lot. They've dealt with a lot. Those guys worked like 17, 18, 20 days straight, doing rescues, doing recoveries. Meanwhile, their families are suffering to various degrees, either lost their homes or you have power and water. Life was hard. I mean, life was legit hard, like old school hard, not,
Yeah.
you know, and they're
Yeah.
dealing with all that, but they're at work.
Have you seen
Yeah.
the change in them?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of them more than others, but a couple guys I've known for a long time. Like I saw a guy and I just walked past him and I was like, he's gone. Like he's gone. And from what I've heard, I think he's retired now. Yeah. And he was pretty far in his career, but I think so I don't know for sure. I shouldn't say, but I think it helped it along.
So what saves them then? I mean, yeah, there's some that seem like they move on in a healthy way, and then I'm sure it's the same on that side of the coin with the fire side. There's some that don't.
Yeah. I think having something outside of the job, you got to watch it. The Wire, and there's a character that says, the job will not save you," and that.
Yeah.
I had to learn that even when I was outside of the fire service, working in a different job, still in civil service, but in, you know, totally different environment. That became my life, and that doesn't really work. I look at some of the guys I know who I really look up to that have that strong family, and that's like, what am I really here for? I'm here for my family. I'm not here for the job. Yeah, I may be here for my brothers and sisters, but I'm here for my family. Or I've had some friends that, like, man, maybe growing up they went to church, but they were definitely not the church going type when I knew them, that now are faith. They have a strong faith, and if that works for them, great. Not my jam per se, but I think having those outlets, having that other, you know, and I think you've talked about, like, I am more than just a cop, and I struggled with that. I mean, luckily I was young. I switched careers for a whole nother reasons, host of reasons, but that, like, I am more than just this job. Because if you let that, like, when I was firefighting, I was working in a structural department. I was working at for a state forest service part-time. And then my other part-time job was working for a college in its Department of Public Safety as the campus fire marshal. Everybody I knew, you know? So I think the guys that get out have another purpose, find something to do. But also stay connected and just don't go sit at home alone. There's a common saying in the fire service, all the world's problems are solved at the dinner table in the firehouse. Because you talk about religion, politics.
Must be nice to eat.
Well, you know.
You knew that was coming.
I knew it was coming. Hey, I ate in my car the other day while driving. I felt like a cop. I'm just saying.
So if we have young firefighters
Yeah.
or people that want to be firefighters, if they're looking to get into firefighting, what's something that you'd tell them to do? What are 2 places that you suggest, and what are some tips that you'd give them?
So if you don't pass a test and you fail, don't get discouraged. You can be a cop.
Our test is very hard. I can only speak for my department.
No. So prepare. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there online. It's not, back in my day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's so much stuff online now.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I think that sometimes it makes it harder because you don't know what's bullshit and what's good. I struggle with this. Your listeners will probably be able to tell us. Mouth shut, listening more than talking. So yeah, that's the, and just be hungry. I mean, and so if you're trying to get into it, it's hard. Now, right now, it's kind of like the police, I think. They have a hard time getting people.
Yeah.
They have a really hard time getting people across the country.
Which is weird, because I wouldn't think that that'd be a problem with firefighters, because in all seriousness, you guys usually get to be the heroes. You guys get to ride that hero train.
Yeah, definitely reap the bed. That's a lot of upside.
Cops get spit on, and it's like, oh, thank God, the firefighter is here. But they are having a hard time.
I think part of it is because there's more reality about the job and not, don't get me started on firefighters in media, like on television movies. Pick your poison. I think state forestry is a great place to start. The U.S. Forest Service, I did some work as a contractor with them. And they're obviously the big dogs, but be someplace where people are motivated. So that's my thing, is like, in the companies I was in, we were about training. Like, yeah, sure, we spent time on the couch and everything.
Yeah.
But we were in the bays talking about fire, looking at tools, working on tools. We were doing trainings. We would do, it's funny because I think on a previous podcast, we were talking about firefighters, and I'm not picking. It was just like, well, they can't do proactive. And you're right. Like, we can't drive around and prevent fires.
Yeah. It's not kind of hard to do.
My father ran restaurants for a long time, and he always used to feed cops for free. And the firefighters got really pissed off because, I think their union guy came. I was like, man, this is bullshit. You don't get firefighters their meals. My dad's like, a cop sitting here eating dinner keeps me from getting robbed. Firefighters sitting here eating do not prevent the place from catching on fire.
True story.
Yeah. And so, but places, and if you find yourself in an organization, try to get to a unit where people are motivated and where people are passionate about their jobs. I mean, and be smart. Like, some old guys are out of touch and won't tell you bullshit, but there is value to that experience.
What would you tell those then that know that they need to get out? Because I don't know if firefighters are the same way, but police feel like they're stuck, right? They can't leave that career because it's like, this is a very specific skill set that now I've developed. I don't know how to get out. And you were successful in getting out. So what would you, and I'm not saying that you wanted to get out. I don't know your reasons for getting out, but what would you say to these people, or what, that feel like they need to get out but don't think that they have a skill set?
Have a plan. I was lucky I was relatively young, but I definitely, when I went to my new job, was freaked out because I was like, I spent the last couple of years, like, I'm really good at the sledgehammer.
Yeah,
like, I can, but you have skills. So I have a good friend that cancer a couple times as a firefighter, which is a big risk. There's an increased risk. I think it's like 10% more cancer risk for firefighters for all cancers, but other cancers, it's like, you're like 100%, so you're like twice as likely to get cancer of certain cancers.
So just from everything burning and inhaling it?
It's in it. Well, and then you're in it, you're in you're the chemicals, it gets on your skin. And then they found out the firefighting foam, of course, turnout gear actually has a chemical in it that's cancer causing. Oh yeah. So that's one thing I tell people: register for the National Firefighter Cancer Registry. So you don't have to have cancer. If you were ever a firefighter, structural or wildland or industrial or shipboard, there's all sorts of, go register for it. And it's a long-term tracking thing.
Wow.
And so they can get more information on firefighters and cancer. You sell the radios and do all that. He went and did that. I know another guy that, and we're just saying about, he worked doing upfitting vehicles. So an agency gets vehicles and it needs graphics and lights and all that. And a lot of firefighters, pick up those extra skills, carpentry or whatever. You end up doing so much as a firefighter. We didn't really talk about hazmat, wilderness search and rescue, all that. And also leadership. If you're in it any time, you learn leadership. That's a marketable skill.
What's something you wish you had changed?
I hate to wish away, say, what I have. But, some days I just think, what if I would have stayed?
Yeah.
And when I left that agency, I applied at another agency. I applied with the Forest Service to do heliTAC in Montana. So like heliborne, go in a helicopter and fight fire. And then I applied with the other government agency that I ended up with. And it's just part of me is like, no, I wish I would have stayed. I can't say how many years. The one thing I think, and like my path, I think was kind of unusual. So, I was a college student, volunteering then part-time, and I was paid doing wildland the whole time, but that's not like a full-time gig. It wasn't for me. Very few people, that's a full-time gig. It's usually seasonal. And I don't think, in some ways it probably wasn't great because I was just seeing things and then going back to like a college dorm and hanging out with college friends. Like sometimes I think, well, maybe I shouldn't have done it. Maybe my college experience would have been a little different. But on the other hand, I learned more. I won't say I learned more. I learned just as much sitting at that firehouse table, riding those trucks, talking with cops on the side of the road as I did going to 4 years of college. And I started halfway through. So, I did it while I was there and the full time of it. Yeah. So that maybe is one thing because I think it affected some of my relationships, if like friendships.
Negative or positive?
Negative, like in some ways, just because like I wasn't like.
You feel like you couldn't relate to them the same?
Couldn't relate to them the same way. Yeah. Couldn't relate the same way. They couldn't relate to me. And like, I kind of had been told like the thing of like, you leave that shit here.
Yeah.
Which I think is true, but also I think that can be harmful.
What's something that I've missed that you might want to bring up?
No, I mean, I think you covered it all. I just, I'm a big believer in public service. So whether you're law enforcement, I mean, that's when I knew I always wanted to be in public service. And I wish more people would be. I would encourage people, like, consider a career in the fire service. It is a great job. I mean, there are downsides, but it's a great job. Well, I enjoyed this. Yeah, I hope it was useful, not too rambling.
No, I'm going to delete the whole thing.
Fucked waste of time. I could have gone to Taco Mama. Fuck this.
I'm still going to go to
Taco Mama.
But as usually on the cast, I want to say thanks for coming in, and I really, I joke firefighters all the time because that's the fun sibling rivalry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, when I put in for it, I knew I'd never be a firefighter because I thought that's one way I'd never want to go. But I love dealing with them because when they're good, man. But there's always going to be when they're not doing work, it's still going to be us making fun of them every minute.
Oh yeah. Well, and I always say you'll never see someone like talk more shit about cops than firefighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, then come to their defense. Even if they're like, I don't even like that dude.
Yep.
Fuck that dude. But oh no, you can't say fuck you, John. You can't give them shit.
I can say, oh man, fuck you, and you do. But somebody else comes in like, no.
No.
Go sit down.
No, 100%.